as you can go on in the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quite frankly, in my absence from that meeting, I'm going to ask Mr. Dellinger to come to the podium and give a report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carlin, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Recreation Advisory Commission did meet on Tuesday, October the 8th. Our main topic of discussion was our master plan. As I talked to you the last time I was here for an RAC report, we were going to begin that process of looking at our master plan. It was a 2005 to 2020 plan, and of course, being in that plan for 8 years now, there's several projects within that plan that we have completed, and several projects in that plan that may no longer be trends in recreation. That we wanted to look at that total plan and just see where we are and update the plan. If you'll remember, this plan was completed entirely with city staff efforts through the planning department, recreation department, engineering department, and others, with a 40-person committee, and we actually worked about 3 years on that project, to be honest with you. And we did have a good plan. As you can see, some of the components have come to fruition. So it will more than likely take us about half that long if we meet once a quarter and we work on it about an hour and a half like we did at our previous meeting to bring something back to you. We're also going to be working with the manager, our planning staff, and engineers to update some of the numbers, that are in it too. They're 8 years old, and of course some of the staff input too, is to see where we are and actually put up a timeline on that to bring forth to you. I did give them a tennis court update. As most of you saw, the county commissioners, not the county schools, the county commissioners voted to produce $90,000 toward the tennis courts at Ashbrook. Under our community schools agreement, our portion is half of that. Our estimate was $180,000 earlier, and we still, so $90,000 is sort of the number that we're looking at. But with Ashbrook, and we do have funds in the budget to do Ferguson Park and also Phillips Center. Looking at all those projects together to lump those projects, and we'll actually get a better number, which will produce savings. Also looking at a couple of different alternates, methods. Our engineering staff has assessed those courts, and there may be an alternate that will be a cheaper avenue to take on all those courts. So that's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of January when we do put that out to bid and have some of those numbers to bring back to you. But city staff, Mr. Munn, finance department, engineering, recreation, met to look at all of our project needs. Some of the things that we have ongoing, some of those are things that we are critical that we need to do that we did not budget. We've got a structural type problem and an airflow problem at the pool at Irwin. So we're lumping all of those things in together, prioritizing our needs, and working in any savings that we possibly can to fit the money that we have with the projects that we have. It is our intent definitely not to come back to you to ask for any more. Yes, sir.
Just one question, Chuck. Skateboard park, anything in the realm of us? I know we had one at one time at Lineberger, but that went away, and just wanted to know if there was one coming back.
Councilman Gallagher, what we purchased about 12 years ago was a pilot skate park, if you will. It was pieces. I came back to you. I think I reported to you at our last meeting that it was really not designed as a piece that was going to last, a lifetime kind of thing. And it is our recommendation, and it is a piece of our master plan to create a concrete, more permanent type skate park in the future. And that's basically what we're dealing with in this plan. That piece was moved to Phillips Center, and we have repaired it and repaired it and repaired it, and it has been used. It has been used heavily, but it has also been abused also. Those things take a beating. So we have surplus that equipment, and I don't remember. I have a group of young guys who are Actually, they're telling me they're pooling their money together before we put it up for surplus. I'm actually holding on to it until they actually tell me that they think they have enough money to purchase it. I didn't tell them how much it was. It's just, it would be an auction. I think we put it on, finance folks put on Gov Deals or some other method that we could work with them on.
Thank you, Chuck.
Any other questions?
Item number 3 was the utilization for city parks for private enterprise. And most of you probably saw the article that was in the paper on Sunday. That stemmed from the agenda item that we have here. When we had our Recreation Advisory Commission meeting, we had 2 situations that came up that really made us kind of think about the boot camps or those extreme type exercise groups. One was we received a phone call from a gentleman who said his wife had been injured in one of those boot camps at one of our parks, and he wanted to file a claim. We talked with him a little further, and he said that the boot camp had told him that his wife had signed a hold harmless clause, and she had no claim with the boot camp. Come to find out, that was actually at a county park. We definitely made that contact to the county to tell them to possibly be aware of something coming. The other incident was just a few weeks before we had our meeting. It was on a Saturday morning. I got a call from a staff member around 7:30, 7:45 that we had 100 folks pulled in the parking lot at Rankin Lake Park, and it was the boot camp having a multi-county area where they were having their sessions. We immediately, I had someone go look at our books to make sure we didn't have a reunion planned at the building at Rankin Lake, to make sure we had very few shelter rentals, and to ask them when they were going to be finished. Luckily, we didn't have any of that, so we didn't have the conflict. So what we asked them to do was to contact us to set up a meeting, and we contacted some other city staff, the attorney risk management folks, to confirm our belief that one, they really needed our permission for scheduling. That was my primary concern. The other was that we, a group, once we knew about them, would have to produce a liability insurance with the city listed as an additional insured, and that they couldn't solicit or sell things on city property without an application type fee or without a lease or a contract, like we do the bicycle rental folks at the Greenway, like we do our dance instructors, our karate instructors, the same type deal. So we had done a little research. After the article came out, I was expecting it not to come out till after this meeting, but it came out Sunday. Yesterday and today, we've done a little more research, done a couple of listservs, and I will tell you that all cities and counties throughout North Carolina and all the way, I got some responses and some information all the way from Wilmington to Santa Monica, California, where it's groups who are coming in. Most folks have a policy or an ordinance in place that you can't solicit, or you must, you got to pay a fee to be on property. You must have the liability insurance. I think we have all the mechanisms in place. Some of them, New Hanover County has a 9-page document. All the do's and don'ts and rules, and I'm not one of those guys that likes 9-page documents with all of those. I really like if we have the rules in place that we meet, because every group can be different. Every need can be different. Every park is different. If this happened at Phillips Center down on the lower portion when we didn't have T-ball or soccer going on, we don't have any parking issues there. We don't have, or a lot of our parks. So I really think we have the mechanisms in place to handle it. Just wanted to bring it up to our Recreation Advisory Commission and to this board as well. If you have any input or any questions, that was our proposal. Was we didn't ask at that time. We didn't ask for we didn't have any recommendations for the RAC. We didn't We didn't feel like we needed one at that time, but we did go back and talk to other city staff and felt like we had the mechanisms in place to handle it, but we just needed to make sure that we met with them and dealt with it the right way.
Yes, sir.
Chuck, the things I have about this is, one, is it possible for us to have an online scheduling area for the website itself where a group can go in there and schedule so we're made aware that they're coming? Two, is there a hold harmless agreement that they can incorporate in their documents that they have people signing off on? So if they do come on city property and they get hurt, ergo, with our hold harmless agreement in there, they cannot sue us as well? And three, what type of fees and when would they kick in? Like, if someone's there exercising with 4 or 5 folks, you know, does it start at 1, 2 people? Does it start, you know, where does it start and where does it progress to? 100 people? That's a lot of people. You know, would have been nice to have known ahead of time. That's why I'm thinking about interactive and that type of thing, so there's a lot.
If I can respond to those in order, one with the technology, I'm sure Mr. Carpenter, we can work on something like that. It's something we have never done, but things are progressing, that's for sure, and we'll definitely look into that and see if we can do that. The second with the hold harmless, that was one of the suggestions, and I'm sorry I failed to mention that when I was talking about it, was if their hold harmless clause incorporated what we wanted to say, and Gastonia Parks and Recreation or the city of Gastonia as well, like our hold harmless clause is too, would be something we would definitely want to do. And the numbers, I will tell you, I've seen instructors teaching tennis on tennis courts, and one guy may have 3 or 4 kids or 3 or 4 adults on one court or 2 courts. I really don't care whether he's charging anything or not. But if he has 40 or 50 and using up 8 courts, then we're going to have that conversation. If there's 2, 4, 6, 8 people running or doing some exercise, I have no problem with that. It is the large numbers, especially at those parks like Rankin Lake, Martha Rivers, and Lineberger Park, where we're competing for parking spaces every day anyway. I think numbers, there are some issues that small numbers can create some problems. We're not going to go looking for it, but I did see we had a personal trainer who, you've seen those sleds where you hook them up to the guy, and it increases your leg strength, and football, even receivers do it. Baseball pitchers do it. It just gives you that. Well, it's the sled doesn't bother our soccer fields, but when you've got someone who can't pull that thing and they're continually digging in your soccer field, it creates a problem. And I've seen that firsthand. So it could be 2 that would cause a problem, but that's something we would handle. If we see it, we're going to say, hey, look, you're welcome to come train with this guy here, but not with the sled here on the soccer field. This may be a better place for you to train with that. So,
Do we need to send this back to committee so that they're able to, look over what other cities have done in order to present us with fees and scheduling and that type of thing? Would that be something that we should look at?
Council, we can do. I will tell you that we do have fee schedules in place for things. Most of our classes that are recurring type events, the instructor gets 75%, the city gets 25%. That's everything from dance to karate, all the ones that I mentioned, and everything across the state that I've found is between 15 and 30%. And there are terms in our fee schedule where the recreation director can negotiate those things too. And as I said, a lot of factors factor into that. And being able to negotiate it, just like if a baseball organizer comes in to run a tournament, there may be different things that they want to incorporate into that schedule, and having the ability to negotiate that where it benefits the city and the individual and the participants is what we would favor doing. Now, we'd be glad to take it to committee, bring it for further discussion. We've got a lot of background information I've got from a lot of cities and towns, and I'd be glad to do that if that's the council's wishes.
No. Brenda and Todd.
Just briefly, since the Gastonia Optimus Club Park comes under Parks and Recreation, could you give us a brief update as to what's going on there?
Something we've been waiting on for a long time. The playground equipment did arrive today. I know when Mayor Pro Tem Craig picked out a date, and I had a heart attack because it wasn't but a couple of weeks after the playground equipment was supposed to be in. But it is in our shop, and the installer is in town, sleeping in a hotel in Gastonia, North Carolina, and he's starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. So that's the good news. Gary Sane and the engineering department, he sent out a revised schedule today, and I'll tell you, it is really, really, really tight. We've got to finish the playground. We've got stone and drainage and mulch to go in there, fencing, a little bit of concrete, and a little bit of landscaping, and the parking that Firestone is letting us use to finish. So I'm going to let you and Gary hash out whether that 23rd date is still good or not. He and I both had you and I had a conversation. Me and I had a couple of conversations today, and we're scared to death of that date. But that's what you. If that's what you want to do and your group wants to do, we'll do everything in our power to make it happen. Can't do anything about rain. Can't do anything about outside vendors. But if you haven't been by there, it is really. I mean, it's really a nice. Going to be a nice piece.
I just wanted to make the comment that if, obviously you would bring it back to us if you felt like you needed something stronger, kind of get back to what we were discussing before with the large groups. But I like what you said, because it could be the 2 people training, or it could be the 100 people training. You can't really set a concrete policy that's going to be effective in every situation. So given the Parks and Rec Department the flexibility to negotiate those, I think works well. So, you know, if you ever needed something, then obviously we'd be glad to hear it, but I think leaving it as is
and of course from the legal office and our risk management folks, we would not, if there was anything, we would definitely seek their guidance as well.
Any other questions? We'll just leave it as. Back to that boot camp just a second. Working pretty good for you, isn't it? I mean, are you a member of the boot camp?
Am I a member of the boot camp?
I didn't see you in the paper, but a picture, but.
No, sir. No, sir.
Well, you're.
Maybe I need to do that.
They'd like the sheriff. You're looking good. Okay.
Actually, I believe that your boot camp is on the Outer Banks, isn't it?
My boot camp begins.
Oh.
Actually, I told them it'd be close to 7:30. Trucks loaded up, the boat's loaded up. We're heading to Harker's Island here as soon as we're finished.
Oh.
You better hurry.
You going for red drum?
You're 5 minutes.
Absolutely. Speckled trout.
Get big ones.
Yeah, great.
Mr. Mayor, there's one other thing, since Chuck's here. There was a situation that has occurred at Sims Legion Park that I think we should just share with the council, that this has to do with the scoreboard.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you drive by Sims Legion Park, the scoreboard is no longer there. What we had with that was 6 years ago. We had an individual approach us with a free scoreboard and a 6-year lease. The premise was there was a video portion, and he was going to have someone come in and sell advertising on that board, and we would give him the right to do that. The first year he was to receive all the profits. The second year we would receive, second and third year 25%, and then fourth and fifth year 50% of those profits, under the premise that those profits, what we would make at the end of 5 years, we would purchase the board for $150,000. The premise was that our half would at least get us to that, or make improvements over there. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been one dime of and this was not the Grizzlies, this was a company an advertising company in Forest City. So the good news is we've had a really nice $150,000 scoreboard for free for 6 years. It was a no-brainer to go into the deal. Now we've got to find a scoreboard to replace it. Are we going to spend $150,000? We absolutely cannot. Between us and the Grizzlies, we cannot. Back 5 to 6 years ago, we were looking at spending $25,000 to $35,000 for a really, really, really nice scoreboard, and that's the number we're playing around with now to do that. So the scoreboard didn't get blown down. No one, but it is gone. But it was a really, for 6 years, and it was a really good idea. We actually didn't lose. The advertising guys won the loss. As you know, what happened 5 years ago, the economy sort of tanked and advertising sort of its business went down. So,
Yes, sir.
Chuck, we're fortunate, I don't recall whether you were there or not, we recently had the industry announcement, Mayor, that you oversaw at the conference center, and it's my recollection that the new subsidiary of Owens Corning is doing something, I thought, with fiber optics. It might be worth a phone call to them to see if they have anything in the scoreboard line that, or something to that effect, that they might be willing to debut in our city.
Or sponsor otherwise.
I'm sorry?
Or sponsor otherwise.
Well, I was getting to that. I just wanted to throw that out. I don't remember. Do you recall, Your Honor? I believe it was something with fiber optics or something.
They discussed that.
That's right. You were there too, Tom.
Steve Nye will be probably the one that we could contact for us at the Economic Development, works with Donnie Hicks. He's the one that brought him.
I think at this facility, though, it's going to be mainly building products with fiber threads.
Well, he had indicated that they were going to branch out into other things, and that's why I'm not sure whether it's in their bailiwick, but it sounds like it might be worth a phone call to see if that's something down the road that they might be looking into. We certainly would like to be a good neighbor and host them.
it's definitely worth a phone call. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that is, any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Good luck.
Have a safe trip.
City Attorney's report.
No report, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
All right, sir. City Manager's report.